I was born to be an enlightened man. This is what an enlightened man looks like. As I walk around New York City. And what does enlightenment mean? It means that in the dark, there's light. That's what an enlightenment would be. Otherwise, it'd just be light for you. So enlightenment means is in the dark. And I've been hit with dark. So dark. But from the very beginning, the seeds were always planted for me to be what we call an enlightened man. And then today, a couple of things happened that were beyond rational belief. I was thinking this morning that in the house that I live, I'm actually living in a cemetery, in what we'll call the burial grounds. In other religions, because they cremate, they call them the cremation grounds, but I'm living in a cemetery. It's time to visit my mother and father in a couple of days, in the anniversary of their death, the yahrzeit. But then I'm thinking, I'm totally living in the same area, in the same house where they live. And then I looked up the word cemetery, and it's Bet Kavarot. Kaverot. Bet Kavarot, cemetery. And I did the gematria, and the gematria is 1,118. And that's the same gematria as the Shema. The Shema is the cemetery, the Bet Kavarot, house of graves. And then later in the same day here, about 20 minutes later, I was thinking, that I'm so far removed from normative Judaism because I'm like a celibate. And I looked up the word celibate, and it's parush. Means parush, celibate, separated. I did the gematria of parush, and it's 586, which is my number. Why? It's Yesod, fully spelt out. It's also Yerushalayim in its gematria. It's also shofar. So this is what we have here. It's Parush. So there are two numbers that are very meaningful to me. One is 1,118, which is, I've done plenty of gematria on. And the other is 586, which I even wrote a song about. I put lyrics in the song about that Yerushalayim, and Yesod fully spelt out as Yerushalayim. And so here we are, that's the same gematria as Parush. So. And then, I'm studying. Earlier this morning I did a video on the Nazir, David HaKohen, about the auditory and being from the Shema. And that's when I got all this. And then I go back over my life and how every detail has led me to this. And then I've gone through this darkness to be enlightened. And I always had that seed. And the halakha is only to give you the nista. It's only to find the root and the essence, the ikha, the shoresh of the halakha, and what's really there. And it's to turn you into a yahid, an individual. Can you do it? Or are you going to go into the group? I don't blame normative Judaism, because the masses have to be taken care of. But do they have to be taken care of? What's the point of the masses? To find one individual. And then when you find that one individual, what do? They always slaughter it. They slaughter that one individual. And then there's an individual who's strong enough not to be slaughtered. It's fast enough to run like a gazelle. Strong enough to be like a lion. A larger enough neck to neck like a giraffe. To have his animal impulse. Always remember that Kelev, fully spelled out, is also 586. So it's not only, it's also Bacol. So yes, take a good look. It's hard to believe. I'm the last of the Mohicans, the last one to recognize. The last one to recognize my own self, looking at my own selfie. I'm sitting on a bench here where, like 20 years ago, or more, I saw Amy, I didn't know it. And then back there, we strewed her ashes. This is a burial ground. This is a cremation ground. And I'm sitting on a bench and I'm recognizing this about myself, how everything in the past has led me to this, and here it is. It's not a question of being bashful. It's a question of recognizing. Recognizing yourself when you walk down the street. When you see that Emu and Dave and Doug commercial, the emu recognizes himself in the mirror. He thinks it's something else, but it's really himself. And how can I believe it? Can't believe it because you're taught to be part of a group. And when somebody isn't part of that group, they're told that they're foolish, when they think they're enlightened. And here I am. Nobody has these things on the number 586 and the number 1118. My symbol of the two hands and a hay inside, which I'm not explaining too well. I have a symbol that was given to me. It can come out to be 1118. How many years ago? Over 20 years ago. And I'm not even living in that area. I'm not recognizing what I have to be in these last years, what the rest of the people in my burial ground, my Bet Kavarot, died for. And I have to be man up, to recognize it and say it. But I've been so crushed since the onset of puberty. Crushed. That you can't recognize yourself when you see it. That's right. Recognize it. Take a good look. That's what it looks like.